This video is going to be a little bit different than any video that we've ever done. This video is not about how to tie or any tricks or anything. It's kind of a personal story, and I'm reaching out for a little bit of help. So, fly tying has changed my life, and it's changed my daughter's life, and it's really, really been impactful to me. As a 7-year-old kid, my parents got divorced. I lived in Golden, Colorado with my dad, and my mom, we moved to Oklahoma. So I lived in southwest Oklahoma, which is kind of the desert with cotton fields everywhere. There's no trees. If there is one, the farmers are going to try to spray it and kill it so they can get some more land to grow on. And it was like the hardest thing that ever happened to me. But I would spend every summer with my dad. The day school got out, I went up there, and the day before school started back, I come back every summer break and most Christmas breaks. So when I was up there, man, I was right by all the river streams, so I was out gold panning and fly fishing and doing everything I could, and I absolutely loved it. Well, my dad ended up moving into Denver, so I'd spend the summers in Denver, and I never missed one. Every summer of my adolescence and teens, I spent there, and then I actually lived there for a year after high school. So I would get into fly tying. Well, my dad was a workaholic. All we did is pour concrete. He had zero interest in fishing. He never, nothing. So he thought it was stupid and a waste of time and a waste of money and blah, blah, blah. And he's probably right, because I've pissed a lot of money away on fly fishing. But he always just kind of shunned it, So, well, anyhow, it was a different world back then. So, well, he lived in Denver. I remember I walked like 4 miles to Kmart, and they had a fly fishing section at the Kmart there at the time. And I went down there and I got me a fly tying kit, and I snuck it in. And my dad's house was a 2-story house with a basement, and the basement was like a mother-in-law's house. So I had like my own kitchen, bathroom, and everything down there. And that's where I stayed in the summers. And I did not like my stepmom, which she's actually probably was a good lady. I was a rebellious kid and wanted my parents together like every other kid. So I probably created most of those problems myself. But nonetheless, I didn't like being around her. So I'd stay downstairs and I'd tie flies all the time. Well, I wasn't about to keep sneaking away and doing all that. My dad was going to catch me. So I ended up, going and trying to find different feathers and different crap here and there. And, I'd get and gather up what I could. But every time before I'd go home, I'd make sure I'd stock up and get everything I had to, before I went back to Oklahoma. Well, it doesn't take very long to run out of fly tying materials. So when I'd get back in Oklahoma, I really had to figure out sources, in different craft stores and stuff like that. And you young people aren't going to have a clue. Like, we didn't have the internet. Like, there wasn't no way to search stuff. So, and there wasn't like all these TV shows. Literally, we lived in the country. We had 3 channels on our TV back then. And my little TV in my bedroom was a black and white TV. It's a different world. So everything I learned from reading magazines and studying and trying to find stuff. And 99% of what I did is figured it out on my own. So a lot of the stuff I do is probably wrong, and it works, but it's probably not the right way to do it, but it worked for me. And through time, I studied and I watched YouTube all the time and stuff like that, so it got better. So as I got older, series of bad mistakes is kind of what my life was. I had a girl that I dated for years, and we had a son that was born dead. And that's hard. 18-year-old kid to, have to go through that. And she couldn't handle it either, and we actually split up over the whole deal. It was a bad deal. And I really struggled through that time in life. Like, I didn't want to live. It was a horrible, horrible experience. But I could go to my fly tying bench and I could tie flies, and just, it gave me peace. It took enough concentration that it gave me peace. And I learned that is a way to really cope. It's like your own counselor. Like, I learned that, and it helped me get through that. And I don't know how. I know it sounds stupid to somebody who's never done it, but if you tie flies, you understand the relaxation that comes with it. So as I got older, I joined the Army, National Guard, during George Bush's era. So there really wasn't such thing as National Guard. Hell, we were activated all the time, and it was just that way. So anyhow, I started dating another girl, and I got activated to go to Iraq. And as that happened, we decided that we better get married. So, she had benefits and stuff like that. And I'll be damned if I don't go get married on a Saturday and my orders don't get canceled on a Monday. Oh, it was, talk about dumb mistakes and living through some really interesting times. But anyhow, I made it. I survived. Well, that train wreck stopped, and, we didn't last very long, thank God. And again, it was just depressing, sad, lonely times. And at this point in time, I had become a cop. So I had to have my game together. I was going to get hurt or get somebody else hurt because of my inability to do what I needed to do. So I'd come home and I'd tie flies. And I didn't really have money to do anything else. And I could tie flies, and then I'd wander down, and like I live, a walking distance from the Red River between Oklahoma and Texas, and it's full of gar. And gar are fun. It's like fishing for tarpon. So I'd tie these little clouser minnows and stuff and little nylon rope flies, and I'd go down there and fish for gar. And it was solitude, so I wasn't sitting there whining and crying on someone else's shoulder, but I was grieving and I was still having fun. And the fly tying kept me from doing that. Well, as I moved up in law enforcement, I ended up doing detective work. I was actually a chief and undersheriff, served on a SWAT team, all kinds of cool stuff. But I did sex crimes and persons crimes for a little while. And I'm going to tell you what, there's some screwed up people in this world, and there's some things that I've seen that just no person should have to see. And how the hell people can get to that point in their life just blows you away. But anyhow, I'd come home and it was horrible. And you'd be in these places where these people were doing this sick stuff. So I'd come home and I'm sure my neighbors saw my butt more than anything else in the world. I'd strip down at the front porch before I went in the house and spray myself down with Lysol. And I'd go in and take a shower and then get my uniforms and wash them because it was gross. And it's just gross. But anyhow, you'd have these horrible images and memories and smells in your mind. So I'd go to the fly time bench. And that's what I did, and it worked. And somehow or another, fly tying has been my counselor in life. Anytime I've had a bad day, I go tie flies, and it just kind of makes it go away. And living where I live, they stock trout in November. We don't have a trout season year round. We have phenomenal bass fishing, like I say, gar and carp and, bluegill and perch. I mean, it's awesome. But, the trout season starts in November, ends in March. So it was always fun because, like, if you couldn't go fishing, you could go into the fly tying room and you could prepare to go fishing. And it was all part of it. And I love tinkering and making stuff. I've got a wood shop. I mean, I do all kinds of stupid crap. I'm always trying to tinker and make something. And that's just what I do. And fly tying, it really is like the ultimate tinkerer's hobby. But the relaxation that comes with it, it probably saved my life. I struggled with nightmares for years. One of my best friends was murdered in the line of duty. I've really, really had a lot of head issues over the years that if I went to tide flies, I think I'd have gone crazy. But I got medicated so I could sleep a little bit here and there back in the day. But like now, nothing. If I have a problem, but I'm also spiritually changed as a person that way too, which I won't get into that because there's some people who aren't going to agree with that. I don't want to take it there. But when I have a bad day, I can come to my bench and I can tie flies. And it changes everything. So say all that to say this. My daughter loves fly fishing. Absolutely loves fly fishing. I let her take out of school every other Thursday to go fly fishing with me during our trout season. And I talked to the school, told them all about it, and they understand. And like, she's awesome. Like, she's a fly tyingest little fool you ever met in your life. I was going to Colorado this summer on a fly fishing trip, and she come in the fly tying room and tied up some flies and made a little pack and put them in the county fair, and she won in whatever category it is. Which when you win the county fair, it puts you in the state fair. Well, hell, she won the state fair with her fly tying, so I was pretty proud of her. But yeah, last year, she struggles with reading. Her eyes don't track. She has this little bit of an issue. In public school's a joke. Don't do anything to help her. I tried, and they're like, oh, she'll outgrow it. And it's just absolutely nothing. And they got to the point they're just giving her a grade just to pass her on and just like leaving her behind. And it really, really got me angry. And I struggled with it. Well, anyhow, during Christmas time last year, I got a hold of Orvis. And Tom Rasenbauer sent my daughter a book and signed it and everything for Christmas. And him, Bob Clouser, John Garrick, Bob White, they all like hooked up my kid, and she was on cloud 9. She like read all these books, and like every time we'd go traveling somewhere, now there's a fly tying magazine in the back of the truck. It absolutely changed her life. She'll come in and read about it and tie fly and look up something and try to do it, and like fly tying changed her life. And of all the crap I've done, and I think I'm a pretty good dad, but of all the things I've done, teaching my kid to fly tie and fly fish is probably one of the most important things other than her salvation that I think I could have taught her. And, she has her own counselor the rest of her life. There's days she would come home crying and stressed out from school, and she'd come in here and tie flies, and 20 minutes later she'd be fine. And it was like, this is awesome. Every kid should learn this, so I wanted to pass it on. So with that said, I pulled her out of public schools. And we are doing a charter school, which is a government-funded school. It's an online deal, but it's pretty awesome because it's homeschool at your own pace, stuff like that. And I hired her a tutor, and she's kicking ass. I mean, she's got like a 94 as her lowest grade, and at grade level, like unbelievable how much it's changed. And it all started reading fly fishing books. So anyhow, with all that said, she has suckered me into an idea that I think is awesome, and I've already done it, and that's what I kind of want to reach out to you guys about. The homeschool kids don't have like sports like school has. There's very few opportunities for that. I'm trying to work and build up a basketball team down here, stuff like that. But what we have started is we're going to have a fly fishing club, and it's for all the homeschool kids. In if somebody else is not a homeschool kid, I don't care if they want to join. Whatever, who cares? We can get some more kids involved in this, and it's going to be fun. So once a month, we're going to meet up and we're going to tie flies, and we'll start with simple stuff. Like here's your name, some woolly boogers, and maybe some poppers, and maybe some like a little crappie jig type stuff, just something like that. And then the next week, we're going to go out and go fly fishing with them. So we'll divide it up like every other week of the month, to where 1 week we tie and 1 week we'll go fishing and have little group trips where all the kids can intermingle and hang out, learn a little about conservation, learn a little bit about nature, probably volunteer to clean up some streams and stuff like that in our area, our lakes, whatever. It's going to be a neat little club. But with that, a lot of these kids are poor. Their families don't have the needs, the means and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get a bunch of stuff gathered up. So I'm going to reach out to some people. And that's what I thought. I thought, man, I'm going to explain my life story and explain my kids' life story and how we want to share it with others. And if any of you guys have any ideas or tips or tricks, or have had clubs like this, or know where there's resources to where we can find, good deals on some stuff. And, I can't imagine I want to do groups larger than 10 at a time. So we may have to split it up by age group and do multiples a month. But I've even got some Cub Scouts that have reached out to me. I'm going to go do a fly tying thing with. There's a church group that's they have like their own, it's called Royal Rangers. It's a Cub Scout type program, but church based. We're going to do a thing for them, and it's just going to be a neat deal. And so I thought I'd reach out, and if any of you guys have any ideas, any tips, any places, places that would donate to a cause like this. We're not a 503, we're just some people trying to make it work and give some kids something fun to do. But we're in the need for some vices, so I'd like to get 10 or 12 vices. Eventually I'd like to get up to about 20, but starting out, until they get better, it's going to have to probably be smaller classes. And I'm going to invest some of my own money into this deal to try to make it work. But if I have 10 vices, I'm probably going to need 10 fly rods, and I don't want to start them off with complete junk. So I thought, I'm going to try to get some mid-class rods somehow, some way. We're going to make this work. So if any of you guys have any ideas, any comments, if you want to contribute, whatever we can do to make this thing work for these kids. There's some really good kids who kind of got shunned in the public school system, and they're flowering on their own now. And if you can teach a kid their own counseling, some conservation, some respect for nature, I don't think there's a better program out in the world than this. So we're going to try to make it work. So if any of you guys have any ideas, please share them with me. You can message me. All my information is in the description of this video. So, my address is there. I got a PayPal account. If you guys want to donate to this thing, it would be awesome. We would appreciate it. I hate to be a beggar, but I want this thing to work, and I don't want this to be substandard. I want it to be nice. The public school system, my daughter asked if she could bring a book home to study because she was behind, and they're like, no, we don't have enough. They were duct taped together. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I don't feel it's fair for these kids to have to do that or go through that. We're better than that. So I'm going to reach out. Any of you guys want to help, I appreciate it. And if you don't, I completely understand that too. I'm not out here to try to beg, but I want this to work, and I want these kids to have an opportunity in life that's changed my life. And if you're watching this video, it's probably changed your life too. So this is going to be a really neat deal. And, you can do it, if somebody wants to help in silence, that's fine. If you want some credit for it, we'll blow your name up all over the internet for helping us, whatever you choose to do, if you choose to do anything. And if you don't choose to do anything, man, pray for us and see if we can make this thing work. But we're looking to, like I say, we're going to start a little fly fishing club, and I got 22 kids already lined up for this, so I'm excited about it. So anyhow, guys, thanks for all the support over, the time we've been doing this and my little fly fishing business for, years. You guys have supported me, and I really appreciate it. And we can never do anything to pay it back with you guys. We want to do the same thing. But anyhow, all of our information is in the description. So if you guys want to contact me with any ideas, I don't care if you message me in the comments, whatever, I just would like to see this thing work. And if there's people who've done something similar to this, I'd like their ideas. And if you haven't done something, you got a good idea. There's no such thing as a bad idea. We can toss them all around and see what works. And like I say, if you know of any companies or anybody who would be willing to help us get some gear, to help us, get whatever we need to get, we're gonna have a substantial chunk of money that we're gonna have to invest in this thing, and we want to make this thing work. And it's gonna go to some really, really good causes. And I plan on trying to keep an inventory of everything and check it out so that it's taken care of and that it can be used for multiple kids. They can come and they can use it, and then we share it with the next kids. So, guys, I appreciate you. If you got any ideas, please share them with me. And like I say, all of our information is in the description. You can contact me any way, shape, whatever we can do. If you have any ideas that can help us, man, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you guys for everything. God bless you.